What's up, guys? In the works, and yes, we are playing some Crysis 3, and finally, yes, that's how I feel, finally, because I actually had to wait an extra day, and it was a painful day, because you guys know I enjoyed the heck out of the beta. This was one of my must-buy games, and it was a painful day, because I knew my copy was coming. Deep down inside, I was like, okay, I can't buy 2 copies, that would be completely ridiculous, because I was really tempted. Because when I saw everybody else talking about Crysis 3, everybody else playing it late Monday night, I was like, man, you know, I gotta wait an extra day. But finally my copy got here, and I've spent ample time with it. I think I played like 3 or 4 hours as soon as I installed the game. And I think I finally caught up to all these people in rank, which is a good thing, because when I first plugged it in, I was like, man, some of these guys are already like level 40 or something ridiculous like that. But right off the bat, the first thing I noticed was, Jake, this is not the beta anymore. You know, this is like the alpha. Because I played in the alpha, I also played in the beta. The beta was easy mode. There were a lot of players that didn't play Crysis. There were a lot of players that just weren't very good at the game, so it was like open season. Whereas the alpha, most of the people that were in the alpha were really freaking good. That's kind of how I feel with this. It's like a middle ground. You've got some bad players, you've got some good players, but it's definitely not open season like the beta was, so I really had to bring my A game. And it took me a while to adjust. You know, there's a lot of Crysis veterans out there that are obviously really good at this game. And it was a learning curve for sure. It was a painful kind of initiation into the Crysis club, but I did play an ample amount of Crysis 2, so I was no you know, stranger to the way the game played. But one of the interesting things that I see a lot of people complain about, I see a lot of people talk about, as you see me get my orbital strike, is the auto armor. And this is an interesting argument, actually, because I look at it and I'm like, well, you know, I can see from a Crysis veteran where they feel like it's kind of diluting one of the big mechanics of Crysis, but on the other hand, I don't really see it as that big of a deal. Everybody pretty much runs auto armor. You see me running it on a lot of my different loadouts here, just because this is some early footage. This is from when I first, you know, hopped on, because I wanted some early footage. I like to do that, and then I like to post, you know, when I get better later down the line, so I can kind of see me evolve as a Crysis player. But auto armor is interesting because it takes one of the mechanics out. You don't have to worry about controlling your armor, and I've tried it without auto armor, and I will admit, yeah, it's easier with auto armor. I don't really know why that's that big of a deal. It's really a disadvantage, because if you consider yourself a good player, you can use that auto armor slot for something else. You can go in there and, let's say you want to have the radar thing, where when you have maximum radar on, it actually shows where people are at, you know, the direction they're facing. That's something that you could swap out for auto armor, and good players are going to have a more advantage because they're going to have that on there. So it definitely is an argument that I can kind of see. You know, I don't like to get involved in it because, like I said, I'm not a super hardcore Crysis player. I like the game. I like Crysis 2 a ton. I enjoyed it a lot, and I really enjoyed this multiplayer, but I'm not one of those guys who like to complain about game mechanics. I think they're there. You just have to learn to adjust with them. And that's my take on that, because I know someone in the comments down the line will have a comment about auto armor, but other than that, I don't really see a lot of controversies in Crysis 3. You know, that thing was like, oh, that's so overpowered. A lot of people seem upset about the shotguns, and there's going to be a point in here where I get killed by shotguns, and you're like, oh, well, that's kind of ridiculous. But then I look at it and I'm like, well, I'm playing on a 100 ping server because I'd use quick match, which is something that I don't really advise if you're playing on PC. I use a quick match feature, and it just threw me into this one, but you know, 100 ping, you can usually deal with that. That's not big of a deal. I play on Battlefield 100 pings all the time, but the weapons are fun to me. You see me using the FY7, I believe, which is a heavy-hitting gun. It doesn't fire super fast, and it's more of a, you know, it hits them hard, but it doesn't seem to have a lot of, like, accuracy. It seems to really lack in the accuracy department. I've noticed that if you don't really control the weapon, you miss a lot of the shots. I mean, that's obviously a pretty generic statement, but this thing is difficult. It doesn't have the accuracy of some of the other weapons, and it can be a little bit frustrating, but when you are on target, this thing will drop people super quick, even though it does have a low fire rate. Right there's an example. I mean, that wasn't the best accuracy in the world on my part. I probably could have improved. I'm sure some sort of optical attachment would make that a lot easier, but this is a fun weapon to use. You know, you saw me using the feline earlier. I use that a ton in the beta. That's also a really fun weapon to use. So the weapons in the game are mostly balanced. I know a lot of people have been complaining about shotguns and snipers, but you know, every first-person shooter I play, people complain about shotguns and snipers. So I just try to avoid those types of arguments. They're in the game. I mean, yeah, they could be frustrating when you get one shot by a sniper. Yeah, it could be frustrating when you get one shot by a shotgun, but that's just the nature of it. Like right there, I don't really know what was going on there. I think the kill cam probably made that look a little bit worse than it probably was in real time. But you know, shotguns, they're there. You gotta deal with them, guys. And I don't really think that that's a big problem in this game. They seem to be tweaked a lot from where they were in the alpha and the beta. They don't kill as quick. They don't have the range that a lot of them did in the alpha and the beta. But you know, I'm a man of many weapons. If you watch my Battlefield 3 content, you know I like to use lots and lots of weapons, and I enjoy using all the different weapons in this game. You see me pick up a lot of weapons. I picked up this weapon off the ground. Have no idea what it was, but I was like, ooh, a new weapon. Let's try it out, because that's just how I roll. As I try an air stomp, but I completely fail and I accidentally hit the the grenade button. But yeah, I'm still getting used to some of the controls. It's really hard switching from game to game so much because I tend to play a lot of PC games at the same time, and oftentimes some of the controls are very different than other ones, and it takes me a while to adjust sometimes. But you know, Crysis has been a really fun experience. I still endorse this game. I still think it's a really fun time. If you've got the extra cash and you feel like, you know, you need a different shooter in your life, this is a very strong contender. I mean, look at these graphics. If you're a PC player, this is low. I cranked it down on low. I was recording in high, and I was like, you know, I don't really see a purpose of recording in high. I've always been a stickler for frames when I record. I like that because YouTube's going to ruin the quality anyways, so I might as well get more frames so that it looks smoother when you guys watch it. But this is on low and it looks amazing. Now I do have the textures on very high, just so it blends a little bit better, but this is a beautiful looking game. I think even the console looks pretty good. Granted, it's not as good as the PC. I mean, you're never going to get that with this generation of consoles, but maybe, hey, PS4, you know, Xbox 720, they'll probably be closer to what you see right here. So definitely a beautiful game, to say the least. It's one of the best looking games that I've had the privilege of playing. But then again, Crysis 2 was probably the previous best game, so they definitely improved on the Crytek formula, and it doesn't disappoint in terms of beauty. So definitely awesome to see that they've finally gotten to the point where they've got balanced gameplay. And you see right there, that's one of the issues I'm still having, is the aim down sight speed. You can't aim down sight in certain situations. I know this was a bug in the beta. Right there it happens again where I can't actually aim down sight. Kind of weird. I don't know if that's going to be in their if they're going to patch that, because I thought they had fixed it in the beta. But there's a lot of really fun game modes in this. They've got team deathmatch. You know, I'm playing Crash Site right here with the LMG. A lot of really awesome game modes in Crysis 3. There's the hunter mode, which I think is a lot of fun. I know a lot of people get really on edge when they play that game, and I think that's one of the fun things about it. You know, it's one of those game modes where you don't have to play it super seriously. You play it with friends. You know, your friends, the hunters, they come after you, they shoot you in the back, and it's a blast. But let me know what you guys think of Crysis 3 so far. This is my first little, first impressions overview. I'll probably do a full out review later on, but if you missed some other videos, here's a chance to catch up, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.